What is up? It is me, Gazbot, for Action Activate. And if I'm Gazbot, then with me for Action Activate, this man.
It is I. It is the big dog. We are here today to do our first ever music video Power Ranger review.
I don't know how we're going to do this. We're talking about ATO Worldwide and the song he did for Shattered Past. Shattered Past, which is an extended universe that we've covered in the past. And it's been at the beginning. It's not a new song. He has a new video for the song. And it's also the full song. So if you only ever watched the series, you wouldn't have heard all the verses in the middle where he talks about other Ranger teams and stuff. Now, here's my thing. First of all, friend of the show, good guy. Now is a Ranger in his own right as the Inferno Ranger from Ninja Storm. A lot of good things to say there. I like the theme song. The way I would want to review this is to play the song and the video and watch it kind of like Beavis and Butthead style and be like, oh, look, I like this part. That's cool. What did that mean? I don't know about that, and just sort of comment on it because it's only like a minute and a half long. Yeah. But two things. One, we've been battling copyright strikes forever, and I don't want to have to battle another copyright strike. Two, the whole idea is to help promote him so people go watch his channel and watch this video, which we would like you to do. And if we play the whole song here, there's no point. So I don't know what we're supposed to do here, Big Dog. What are we supposed to do here?
So I wanted to break this up in two ways, kind of initial impressions. Then talk about parts in the video we liked or didn't like, then kind of bring it all together in an overall conclusion.
Okay. So I have the sound off. I'm not going to hit play, but maybe I'll skip around to a couple images that we want to pull up. Okay. So why don't you start then?
So overall, I like this. I mean, when we were reviewing Shattered Past, we talked about liking this theme. It's an original theme for this. It does take some liberties of kind of using SPD as a basis and then kind of becoming its own thing from there. So I already knew I liked it.
Problem with that.
I liked all that. And then also I like how this differentiates from that show or from that intro, I should say, for the show is we see the stuff with Colin, Sam O'Neill, Omega Ranger, but then we see ATO sprinkled in, and that's the part I liked is that original footage where we see Ranger stuff that we haven't seen in anything else because it's a music video. He's in the command center here. He's cockpit in a Megazord. He's morphed up. Like all this stuff I liked because I didn't know where it was going, and when it started, I felt like I did. And then when that happened, I was like, perfect. Awesome.
I agree. And you know what? It reminds me of like a million years ago when MTV would show videos. And I know there's still videos around. I'm not trying to be old man MTV, but like, it used to be more prevalent. And again, pre-internet more, a movie would come out and like Ghostbusters or whatever. And they'd have a theme song and it would have a video and they'd have Ray Parker Jr. or whoever singing and dancing. And then they'd cut in scenes from the movie. And it was always exciting because in those days, like you couldn't just put the movie on, you had, and then the really good ones would have characters from the movie and film scenes with the musician. And it's kind of exactly what you're talking about, where he's like, okay, here's some scenes from this, but also I'm kind of filming new stuff. Now, all the command center stuff is fine. That didn't thrill me as much as when he started showing up as the Inferno Ranger. I thought that was cool.
I like the command center kind of as the metaphorical and literal home base of him doing the song, but
it's the grounding part of it.
And direction wise, I loved this. This is probably my favorite still from the whole thing. I also liked how they did it where it wasn't.
He's doing this where it's like, is he controlling the Megazord or is he like mixing? I don't know.
Exactly. What I also liked is it was circular when it was filming him, and it wasn't linear, which I kind of expected at first. But I appreciated the movement.
This might sound like an insult and I don't mean it that way, but it's just, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago now. So this would be like early to mid 2010s, like 2005. It makes me think of that time period, partially because of some of the aesthetic choices. And it is trying to be like updated 90s. So maybe that's why that's part of it. But I used to work at a place called Spec Studios in New York, and they did a lot of work for MTV. And I was mostly there doing some cartoon stuff, but I did a couple commercials and I worked on like 1 or 2 music videos. And one of them was for LL Cool J. And I'm not saying this to name drop. I was a nobody. I never met him. I didn't go to the studio. I was moving around keyframes and doing mats on the computer. But this kind of reminds me of that because I had this video of LL Cool J in front of a green screen, kind of just like talking and dancing and stuff and the camera moving, and then we're behind the scenes making everything, you know, do stuff. And this feels a lot like that. Even like the way it's shot, the types of things added, like just something about it brought me right back to that time when I was at that studio. So I don't, like I said, I hope that isn't an insult. I don't mean it as such, you know, but that's just what it reminded me of.
Yeah. I mean, with kind of this music in general, especially, it's bringing us to a time where I think you said, depending on what kind of Ranger fan you are, I feel like everybody kind of interprets this differently, where some people are like, oh, this reminds me of Mighty Morphin because of that. Oh, this reminds me because of SPD because that's when I started watching. Like, it kind of plays to a lot of different audiences, which is cool.
Yeah. And it has that go, 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 which is cool.
Yeah. And I also like the references. I talked about this originally, but he references a lot of different seasons, even if we don't see them in Shattered Past, which has good wordplay, like Overdrive's mentioned. Ha, you love Overdrive. It's your favorite season. Yeah, okay, whatever.
Wait, does he say that? What are you talking about?
Operation Overdrive is my favorite season.
Yeah, maybe he ripped it from me. Who knows?
I mean, you have been saying that for a while, so who knows?
He was just like, okay, Overdrive. Let me just okay.
Yeah.
And also, even though this is Shattered Past, we see Rise of the Ninja stuff. It's kind of like, even though it's titled, it's titled Shattered Past, I see it as an extended universe kind of video.
Right. Well, because I mean, the hook, the chorus, the refrain, whatever you're gonna call it, is, you know, the Shattered Past theme. Something I didn't notice at first, I noticed this when I was watching, but not till more towards the end after I saw that he was morphed, is he's wearing his Inferno Ranger morpher on his wrist the whole time too. Because I didn't think about that, like, because again, I didn't know he was going to show up morph, so I was thinking like, okay, he's like the rapper, he's the musician, he's doing his thing, but I'm like, oh no, he's sort of like he's a Power Ranger that raps.
Exactly. It was a good balance. Yeah,
I enjoyed it, and I'll say I'm not a big hip hop guy, like no disrespect or anything, but that's just not my genre. But I enjoyed it. I liked it, and part of it is because it's tied to like good feelings I have for the show. You know, part of it is just that it's a catchy song it's very hummable and whatever. But like, I was thinking about this because there's an old sketch comedy show that got revived. I always have to talk about stuff that isn't the thing we're talking about.
Yeah.
In the Hall. It's a Canadian sketch comedy show. They brought it back. They're all like old men. And there's a theme song to it that's like this instrumental. I don't even know how to, it's like, it's like it's some kind of music that I would never listen to, but I love it because it just fits what I'm watching and it makes me think of that, you know? And so this kind of reminds me of that. Like it just makes me feel like, oh yeah. I get a good feeling from this because it, you know, connects with the show that it's.
I had a similar feeling where I watched a movie recently that used, for those who watched Degrassi: The Next Generation, it put that theme song, which to me, it like not my favorite song. It is a song that I have positive feelings because of the show. And this does both of reminds me of positive things I like, and I like the song. So it kind of does twofold, which I liked.
Yeah, I would say, just to be fair and balanced, the only critique I would have is, and I've only listened to it like twice, like all the way through. Like I know the beginning and end really well because of the show, but in the middle, I like all those extra verses and all the references he's doing and stuff. But I felt like the music and the beat dropped off a little bit, and it's just him, you know, singing, and that's fine. But I just felt like there was a little part in the middle where I wanted more like something to back him up a little bit. Did you notice that, or is that just me?
No, I think I know which part you're talking about, and I didn't kind of notice or dwell on it as much. Not that it's not valid. But
no, and it didn't ruin it for me. But again, just like if I had to think of the one thing I don't like, which I don't have to, but I'm making myself. Yeah. Right now, ATO, if he's watching this, he's like, why? Why do you have to have a bad? You don't have to. You don't have to. But you know.
No, I think in the same vein for me, I think this obviously is the first Power Rangers Extended Universe music video we've seen, and I think it leaves a lot of room for growth. Where we saw him in it and we saw clips from things. Now, to me, the next step is who else is going to be in here, and or are you going to do a remix of this and then include other people in the video, which I think is an easy progression.
I would actually love a remix of this, yeah. But don't discount the Inferno Ranger stuff, because that's the third sauce. They got the clips, they got him, and then the Inferno Ranger. That's
the thing. The Inferno Ranger stuff kind of made it where I was like, do like more of that stuff though, and like bring in other people, and like it made me want more, which I think is again a sign of a good piece of content.
Agreed. And here's where I get unfair, where I start thinking of stuff I want that I have no like right to be wanting. Again, I'm going to talk about something else. There's a as much as I'm not a hip hop guy, and I say that, but there's some hip hop I like, but just it's not my primary genre. But I do like some nerdcore rappers, and one of them is called Word Burglar, and he did an album called Welcome.
About him.
Album Welcome to Cobra Island, and the main track, and my favorite, is called Rap Viper, and it's all about like I work for Cobra, but like I'm a rapper, and he's like, you know, and so I would love to see a version of that for this, where it's like, yeah, I'm a ranger, but I'm a rapper, and he's like you know, hits people on the beat and like, you know, like kicking their butt to the beat, and like, you know, like sonic energy coming at it, like just like, again, it has nothing to do with this video. It is not a critique. It's just like, ooh, I want to see ATO be, you know, like Rap Ranger, Inferno Ranger. The fire comes out on the beat, and like the equalizers are going up like the fire is like an equalizer. Just like all kinds of that kind of silly stuff. I would love.
Just similar to how I request things of you artistically. Yes. Now you get to do it here. It's full circle.
Yeah. And I fully support ATO and or his team that works with him being like, no, and shut up, because that's what I say when he's, you know, so that's fine. But the point I'm trying to make that Big Dawg made much more succinctly is that, yeah, I enjoyed it, and it kind of, I would look forward to more if there was another video or something else. So that's,
if this is the only thing we get, it's good. If we get this in the playlist of future music videos, hey, I'm here for it. We'll review those.
But until then, I've been Gazbot.
Still the Big Dawg.
And
to the power.
We don't need a video. I'm not going to talk about it. What'd you say?
I said, we don't need end credits. We didn't even have an intro.